Now it's time for TIPisodes with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into this week's TIPisode. I'm joined today by Belangie. Belangie, welcome into the show.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
You know, I know you've been on the show before, but do you mind just quickly going over like who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I am a registered dental hygienist. I practice out of Central New York, but primarily my roles are within now in leadership. And I'm active with the New York State Dental Hygienists Association around the areas of professional development. And I'm also director of hygiene strategy and operations at Aspen Dental.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot. How do you find the time to do what you do?
Oh, that's, we all have the same amount of hours in a day, but how we allocate our time. I live in my Outlook calendar. I have learned that I don't like to be double booked or over committed. So I live in my Outlook calendars because I support a lot of people across the country in different time zones. So at least from my work point of view, they have visibility to my calendars. But I also put my appointments in there, birthdays, just keep everything centralized so I know what's happening and plan ahead.
Well, I appreciate the heck out of you doing this for me, even though I didn't give you an Outlook meeting link. But thank you for doing this. I couldn't think of a better person to discuss this topic with, and I'll kind of tee it up a little bit of what I shared with you before. Is we both been in different leaderships kind of throughout our careers, and it's you start as a practicing clinician, you're just doing the thing, and then either you are seeking out opportunities or maybe it's thrust upon you, right? Depending on kind of the situation. And then you kind of keep getting more and more responsibility and leadership. And one of the things that I've always kind of had a hard time with is trying to be the most effective leader or to be a good leader. And you try and emulate other people, but then you have to kind of find your own kind of voice and things like that. So I kind of want to just kind of open it up and hopefully we can have a conversation on like what makes a good leader, especially from the hygiene team. Is that all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, well, let's just broad picture. Like, what is a leader?
First of all, although I have earned certain titles throughout my professional career, a leader is not a job title. I think it's important we all know that leadership is more traits and qualities that somebody possesses that inspire and influence others to a common goal or vision. So I think it's important to understand that because I've seen employee or team members that have possessed more leadership ability within and influence within their team, and they have no direct reports, right? They have people above them, but they know everyone, they build credibility and have strong relationship and have demonstrated certain capabilities that people just gravitate towards them. So I think it's important to understand that.
So it's one of those things where it's a little bit frustrating because people have these qualities that you want to possess, but some people just have them, right? It's like it's built into their DNA or it's based on their life experiences, and you want to try and emulate them the most. I love those quiet leaders. I love those leaders who are, maybe like they're just in op number 3. But everyone does gravitate around them. They learn the best practices. They learn the best lessons from them. But that person's not trying to aspire to a title. So I love that you said that.
Absolutely. I think usually you'll see some type of passion about them. They're passionate towards something. And then they have people that are just see that. It radiates right through. And that's what attracts individuals to them and be more receptive to hear what they say, what they do, because there's something about them that really highlights them and draws attention to what they're doing without trying to draw attention to it.
Let me ask you this. Throughout your career, have there been particular people that you've like looked up to, and like what was their position? What drew you to wanting to be like them?
What's interesting is I was exposed at a very young age to a leader within my own home. So for me, it started with my mother in my early stages of development. When she came to the States in her early 20s, despite English not being her language, she was passionate about serving her Hispanic community and was driven by faith and purpose. I mean, she was a fierce advocate, and it was never for personal gain. And I've seen the challenges she's made, from language barriers to racism to misogyny. But because of her passion, she was focused on a goal and was willing to overcome a lot of battles to help underserved and marginalized people. So that was like my first example of leadership. And then as I've grown in my professional career, there has been key individuals who I've gravitated towards. You know, I saw them as leader, and I've learned from their best practices, and they've guided me as well. Like, one of the things about leadership, you have to be open to feedback and be receptive to learning. I think that's one of the key things, is to be self-aware and extract lessons from meaningful experiences. You know, that there's things that I wish I never really had to experience. However, I decided to extract lessons from that. What can I learn from this mistake or this negative situation? How can I be more aware of how I reacted, and how can I be better from it? So I think leaders are really good about that as well.
All right. So if we can, I want to kind of pry into your personal life just a little bit.
Yeah.
Your mom. So this passion, you can't fabricate it. You can't like create like this fake passion. So where do you think that her passion derived? Like what gave her that initial push that she could serve all of these people, do you think?
I think she was chronically ill when she was young, and she experienced a lot of not the greatest health care back in Puerto Rico during her times. It was definitely lagging. She had severe asthmatic, and she didn't like that treatment, right? And I think that's what kind of sparked her passion to help people who might be feeling the way she has, not necessarily health-wise, but unfair treatment. And I think that's what sparked her passion to become an advocate for people who perhaps don't have the voice, don't have the support, don't have the resources. And I think that it motivates her to kind of help others.
Do you feel like there's a way that someone could get that same kind of passion without having to go through kind of a dire circumstance like that?
Yeah, I think we all are interested in, I think in healthcare though, I believe as dental hygienists, will gravitate us to the profession is the opportunity to help others, right? And so if we're looking at how we can help people, not just our patients, but our team members around us, and find something, maybe it's not in the four walls of the practice, but something in community outreach, exposing yourself in different environments, you'll start to nurture a interest in an area, and then you can be really valuable with sharing your experience, your expertise to it, as well as acquiring new knowledge from those moments that you've had.
But once you do become more passionate, though, I do feel like, you know, it's just contagious. It's contagious like COVID. It's contagious, and you're just gonna love it. I'm lost on all my trains of thoughts now. Can we get into the acronym for LEAD?
Okay, so I was kind of putting my thoughts down, you know, kind of reflecting my mom's experience, and, you know, leaders lead. And so if I were to break down the acronym there, L being learn, E being empower, A for advocate, and D for drive. Because leaderships, they tend to have a goal in mind. Once they have a goal, they have just this willpower that pushes them along that goal. So now, if we were to go through the learning aspect of what a dental hygienist can do, aside from staying up to date with the latest research and technologies and the techniques in healthcare, it's really important to learn lessons from meaningful experiences. And I show that some of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life are from those experiences. And being self-aware of your reactions too. I think that ties in with emotional intelligence, and knowing that, you know, I could have controlled or manage my reactions better, because I understand every action, you're going to get a reaction. And so how can I be a little bit more sensitive with my approach, more thoughtful with my communication, so then it helps the healing process, or help with the rehabilitation, or connecting with the people around me as well. And I think from a team experience, you know, as a hygienist, we can inspire each other's team members. You know, we want to be able to foster a culture of growth and development within the practice. And that does takes patience, and that takes being intentional and thoughtful with how you communicate and convey your message, even when you're frustrated. So I think that that's going to be the first thing that from the learning aspect. E, empower. So leaders empower, they don't dictate. So I think it's important that dental hygienists can really empower individuals to be proactive with their oral health, or team members with that, fostering a collaborative environment where everyone's input is valued and encouraged. So as hygienists, we can contribute to a lot of that supportive office culture in each team member so they feel valued and capable. Sometimes I see a little friction between the dental assistant and the dental hygienist.
You don't say.
Dental assistants may think they're the dentist assistant when their responsibilities are a little more broad and to really help the overall practice environment. So what can you do to kind of like foster that relationship and build it? I think teaching them about your role at the practice. I became a dental hygienist because I was a dental assistant, and a dental hygienist taught me, all the things that she knows. And I was like, I want to do what you do. So teaching each other's, but also supporting each other's. If I can help my dental assistants and, they're busy, they're overwhelmed, maybe they're backed up in sterilization, and I have the opportunity to help them, I will help them. And it'll reciprocate. When you support each other, it's going to motivate them to support you. They're going to, and also recognize them. I think we don't do enough recognition. I appreciate you taking those vitamins for me. I appreciate you cleaning my room around. When you have those little moments of appreciation, that's going to promote intrinsic motivation, and that person is going to continue to help you. But if they don't receive appreciation but they get reactions, like you get frustrated with them for not doing it, that's not going to motivate them. It's not going to motivate them at all. A, for advocate. Well, I share this about my mom, but I think as dental hygienists, we definitely advocate for our patients' well-being and really promote awareness, also increasing access to care. So, of course, from a hygiene perspective, I want to put a plug in here. It's got to be active in your professional association when it comes to the legislative efforts and supporting, certain policies that's going to benefit both the patients and our expanded functions down the road too. But also advocate for your team members and your patients, even in the practice environment. An easy way to do advocate for your team member is investing in their growth and development. Teach them, treat them like your patients too. One of the things I did is a lunch and learn. In my practice, we were implementing a thing or enhanced oral cancer screening at that time. I taught it to them, the benefits, the features and benefits of it, but I also performed it on each one of them. That way they get to experience it. They can see what I see when I've involved them. And then they became little advocates for the oral cancer screening for the patients. So they will tell the patient, I had it done, and you should too, because you never know all these risk factors. And they get excited because I was able to invest my time to teach with them, and they became advocates of it. And we've been able to detect early lesions on patients with enhanced oral cancer screening, and sharing those stories when they hear that they're able to save lives, that's just going to motivate them more. And be an advocate of it. And then last but not least, a drive. Really driving community engagement and outreach initiatives too. We can make a really positive impact beyond the walls of the dental practice. So where do you spend your time? Which is hard, I get it, we're busy. But whether you're volunteering, organizing events, or involved in public health initiatives, you want to drive meaningful change to the goal and have people who are interested in that same goal. Not everyone's going to be interested in the same goal, but definitely connect with those who are curious, who are eager to learn, who want to support you and just ride along with you. And then slowly but surely, others will jump on that bandwagon too. So you definitely want to cultivate a sense of purpose and pride within the office culture. So in essence, leadership is not about holding a position, but really about fundamental qualities such as learning, empowering, advocating, and driving, so we can inspire and uplift those around us. So lead.
Well, look, and I don't know anyone that embodies what you just said better than you. I really appreciate everything that you do for our profession, for the people that you're helping within your organization, people outside of your organization. I'm sure people are going to have some questions though for you. Are you open to them sending you an email or contacting you in any way?
Absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. You can always send me a message there. I'm on Instagram as well, dental_hygiene. And I will be at some of the large annual conferences like RDH Under One Roof. The Friday luncheon is sponsored by Aspen Dental, so I'll be there. So be on the lookout. I'll announce in my social media page which events I'm going to be attending.
That's awesome. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Andrew.
A tale of two hygienists.